reaction to a Supreme Court of Canada ruling that came out just moments ago. Here's what it found: that Uber must recognize drivers as employees, not just as independent contractors. This is a case that could bring about big change, not just for Uber drivers, but think bigger, for other Canadians who work in this so-called gig economy. Also, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is on location at an Ottawa brewery. Reporters certainly expected to press the Prime Minister to explain why a charity that he and his wife support is pretty much the sole administrator of a student volunteer program the government launched yesterday. We'll get into all of that. Hello to you. I'm Suhana Marchand. In light of that Supreme Court ruling on Uber, there is a lot of interest in the so-called gig economy and how many Canadians are actually working in it. We've got our business reporter, Scott Peterson, tackling this. Now, let's go through this Supreme Court decision.
Yes.
It said, yes, Uber drivers do have a case that they should not be just considered independent contractors, but employees of a company. What does that mean? Perhaps that means minimum wage. Perhaps that means some vacation pay. But let's get a sense of this gig economy and how many Canadians could be involved in these types of jobs. Scott?
Yeah, this is a large part of the Canadian economy and an expanding part of the Canadian economy. And Uber and companies like Uber in the so-called gig economy have been fighting this type of ruling since their inception. This companies like Uber, for example, allows them, their argument has been that they are just merely a facilitator. They're a website linking up people that want to ride versus the drivers that are able to provide them. So by maintaining that, they don't have to pay the benefits. They don't have to pay any kind of minimum wage, vacation pay, that sort of thing. So this kind of ruling now is going to put the emphasis on Uber to say that, well, maybe they are dependent contractors, that maybe they are employers. So this is not good for Uber in the sense that they will have to pay more money for benefits for those drivers. But to take a look at the context of how many Canadians are working now in this gig economy, it's considerable and it's expanding every year. For example, about 1.7 million Canadians are now employed in the so-called gig economy. It's not just Uber or Lyft, but it could be Airbnb. It could be any kind of contract between a facilitator and a website and those seeking a service like, say, Airbnb. And that represents about 8.2% of the entire working Canadian population. Another interesting metric here is that how big this economy is. It's $455 billion. And a lot of that is emanating out of the U.S. They represent about 4/10 of all the gig economy in the world. And that is expected to expand about 17% per year. And that's what's expected by 2023. So this is a huge increasing economy. And it's very broad as far as the definition. It's anybody that sort of sees himself as self-employed or a contractor that works with a company like Uber is in fact a gig economy employee.
So these gig jobs then, what are they doing to us, to our economy, to us as a society?
Well, it's interesting. Statistics Canada says that at times between 2005 and 2013, there was a big increase after 2008, 2009, and it could be similar today with COVID-19 in the sense that in order to get the economy restarted, restrictions are lessened. They allow companies to operate a little bit more freely, and we saw a big increase in gig employees after the 2008, 2009 recession. What it does mean in a nutshell is that potentially people have less ability to have rights with a company. Now, this decision that we're seeing today sort of reverses that, but there's going to be a lot of attention being paid on this decision today to say that how much responsibility did gig, economy type companies like Uber have to the people. Are they dependent contractors? Are they independent contractors? Or in this instance, might they even be employees?